Welcome back to Celebrity Radio. It's Alex Belfield talking to some of the world's biggest stars and some of my favourite people. We've got both of those for you today. I haven't spoken to her since 2011. Jane McDonald, how are you?
Oh, I'm really well, thank you very much. Has it really been 2011?
Yes. Well, since we did this on the radio, I mean, privately.
Oh, privately, I'm every day on your buzzing you.
I always keep you on vibrate. I've got small thrills. How are you? Firstly, congratulations. It's going very well at the minute, isn't it?
Well, yes, surprisingly so. I have no idea how that's happening, but you just keep your head down and up. Nobody notices that you're still here, really. But yes, it is probably the busiest time in my career so far, and I've been saying that for years, but it just keeps getting busier and busier. And I, for one, am not complaining one little bit, because to be in work in this industry is definitely something that you should be grateful for.
I don't think you should be grateful in the sense that you've got talent, and that's at the core of your product, isn't it? You stand on that stage and you wow people. That's led to 2 albums currently out. We'll get to those in a bit. A pantomime coming at Christmas and a sellout tour. It's fabulous, but it's because people want to see you. Is it still surprising that you sell out?
I'm always shocked when I see the figures at the end of the night, and I'm always shocked when people keep coming back and keep coming back. But then again, like you've just sort of touched on there, I do put a huge amount of work into the show. I put a huge amount of money into the show, and it is exceptional. I have the best people working for me. I have the best light show. I have the best sound company. I have the best musicians and outfits. It's proper showbiz. My show is proper showbiz, and it's quite sad, but there isn't many people doing that.
There really isn't, and it sounds like a backhanded compliment in a way that you are certainly the best person doing it right now in Britain, and you have been for many years. But like you say, it's a dying art in a sense that everybody else has given up or gone out of business. You really are flying the flag for a one-woman show, aren't you?
Yes, the flag is flying high, my dear. The only reason I can do it is because I do everything myself. If I had to pay agents, promoters, people coming in and doing the scripts and everything else, it would cost a fortune. And to be quite honest, Alex, I couldn't put the show on that I put on if I had all these other people taking their cut. So that's why everything is in-house. I bring everybody in to work with me for that type, for that time. And then we all go off and do our own things. But that's why I coordinate absolutely everything. Control freak is actually what I am. But it's great fun. I love producing. I love the writing, and I love creating, I think. And then if it all goes wrong, it's my fault.
And that's a great way to be in your business. We're going to talk about your new music as well, which you're writing. You've re-released your album that you brought out in the spring with 4 new tracks on it, and most of that is your own work. What's your day like? Do you have time sat at the piano writing? How do you do it?
I have a lovely lounge that I don't sit in very often, and it's my little dream place. Is that I have a piano in there, and I usually have to have solace. If I'm going to write, I take it out of my calendar and I say, right, I'm going to write those 2 days, get out my life to everybody around me. So Ed usually goes off and sees his family. Nobody phones me, and I can switch the phones off, and I literally sit and I write songs. So I've had quite a lot of time to do that over the summer, and I've really enjoyed that writing time, because that's what I do. I'm a creative person, and I've loved writing, and I'm on a whole new journey now with, I hate that word journey, it's rubbish, innit? But I'm on a whole new sort of genre at the minute, and I'm going more into the country rock type feel. So I think it's my guitarist Steve Cooper who has inspired that in me. Not only is he gorgeous, and I do fancy him terribly, but his wife is going to kill me, and my other half is probably going to do the same. But there's that chemistry on stage where the two of us just really work together, and he's co-written a song with me as well. So that's the start of it's like Deacon Claiborne and Rainer James.
Mills and Boons.
Yeah, Mills and Boons. It's a bit Nashville, so we're a great team, and it's taken us 7 years to actually say, let's do something together. It would have been nice for other things as well, but we were both in. I can't believe, if he listens to this, I'm dead. But it's great, and I think it's nice because it's like that. Oh, there's a bit of something going on there. There isn't. I wish there was, but there isn't, and it's like it's a vibe on stage, and when he comes up with his his big guitar in his hand, and it just sort of, It's
He's one of the best strummers in the business, isn't he?
Yes, he is, and it's great to see. I love to see him strumming.
Well, I mean, you must be beating them off, all these guitarists, because a lot of people must want to work with you.
Oh, I wish. That would be nice. No. To that question. Once again, in my head, it's a nice fantasy. And I think that's what my show creates, a lot of fantasy as well. So people hear the song, they can put themselves in that situation and that story, and it's great.
Your songs are very intimate and you reveal a lot about yourself. It sometimes worries me that you give too much. I mean, you really put your heart and soul into your music and into your show, and that is taxing, isn't it? How much does that take out of you when you're singing these very personal songs, whether it be about a lover or your mum or your dad?
Of course, it's. I asked my mother how she felt when I used to sing The Hand That Leads Me when she's in the audience, and she said, I think about my mum. I thought, perfect answer. So when you're singing on stage, it's not about your story, it's about their story. And that's basically what you have to do. You have to get right into their heartstrings, and it usually does work. I've written quite a few songs now which are very emotional, and I always say to people, bring your tissues, because although you're going to have a right laugh and you're going to be up dancing, you're also going to weep a little bit as well. And I've seen big burly men sobbing, and I just seem to pull at the heartstrings at the right time, let them have a bit of a cry, and then we're all up again. So it's a bit like therapy. It's the Jane McDonald Priory.
And even if you're as hard as nails, you could still need a box of tissues, because you do look fabulous on stage, and those frocks, I mean, incredible.
I'm so glad you still see me in that way, Alex. It's quite a compliment.
Yes.
Quite a compliment. It's going to get sexier and sexier. Mainly, I can't be bothered now. The costume changes are just too taxing for me, and the girdles on and off, it's not real. If you actually saw what was under them, you'd change your mind. I'm telling you right now. I mean, it's just not fair. I mean, getting old is sad, and I hate it. I mean, Ed said to me the other day, come on, let's go upstairs and make love, and I said, pick one, because I can't do both. And it's true. I can't be bothered. I haven't got the energy anymore, love.
I was listening to the eulogies at Joan Rivers' funeral yesterday, and she was talking about getting old and how her, let's call it Lady Garden, is like a sponge. And she said the worst thing about getting old is when you wake up in the morning and you look down and you say, why am I wearing a furry bunny slipper? And you're not. It could be quite cruel, life, can't it?
It can, and she's right. You know, it's all of a sudden, there's things, you know, you lose certain parts of hair from certain areas, and it starts growing in others. And you think, where did that hair come from? And it's not just a little stubble bit, it grows an inch in a night, and you think, what's that hair doing growing out my face?
What I'd do for an inch growth, you have no idea, Jane McDonald. Since we last spoke, you've got a bit more of your life back, because when we first knew each other, you got into this show called Loose Women, which is what you're best known for on TV, and it was brilliant for you because everybody fell in love with you, but it was really demanding of your time. You were up and down that GNER line on the trains, doing the show, coming home and trying to fit a tour in as well. Has it helped since Christmas not having to go down 3 or 4 times a week to London?
You have no idea how much it's helped. The travel alone is so tiring, and then when you have to be away from your home for 4 days a week, and try and make a life for yourself in a different city, away from your home, away from your partner, and then be on TV and do everything else, and then come back and try and fit into a life then that your partner's already got without you in it. So I used to come back and think, oh, I'm in his house, because he does certain things a certain way and he likes it that way, and you come back and you feel a bit of a nomad, really. But also, I'm back in producing mode now. I'm back with my foot back on the accelerator. So I am so grateful that I had 10 great years on Loose Women, but I'm really grateful I've made the decision now to go back to the job that I was born to do, Alex. I love being on the stage. I love being a singer. And let's be honest, anyone can sit on a panel and talk for an hour, but there's not many people can do 2 hours, 2.5 hours on a stage entertaining a full audience every night. That's what I should be doing.
Yeah. And this Christmas coming up, you get to do something else that you've not had time to do before, which is 90 odd shows of pantomime. You're at Birmingham, you're at the Hippodrome. world renowned as the number one pantomime. There's no question it's the biggest theatre with the most bums on seat, and they chose you. Do you wonder why? Do you take the compliment, or do you just say, yes, please, I'll be there on Monday?
I'll be there on Monday, thank you very much. I don't really think about it. That's terrible, isn't it? I hadn't realised just how big the Birmingham Panto was, and I'm extremely grateful to have been given this chance. And they've been asking me for 15 years, and I'll tell you the story now. I did say to my agent, because I was on Loose Women and stuck to a contract, I could never do a pantomime before. Some of the others were allowed to do it, but for me, I wasn't released from the show. I don't know why that is.
Some would say you were in a pantomime.
You're probably right. And I was the dame, love. I was the dame. But, this time I said to my agent, we'd better say yes this time because they might not ask again. And it's funny because Nick Thomas said, I thought, right, we're going to ask her one last time. And it was this year. So I'm really looking forward to it. I sincerely hope I love it because I'd like to do more. Musical theatre is definitely knocking on my door now. And it's funny because when you leave a TV show as big as Loose Women, you think, oh my goodness me, have I made the right decision? Because you think, is the phone going to ring? Everybody goes through this. Every artist goes through this. But thank goodness I did, because there's an awful lot more things now coming in that I wasn't allowed to do before. And I'm really embracing it and looking forward to it.
You're absolutely right. I mean, Loose Women is like EastEnders or Coronation Street. Walking away from it is very brave, and you don't want to be that person that has to go on Big Brother to survive, take the paycheck and never be seen again. Is that something you ever worried about or be considered?
Of course, everybody worries about that, and I'm just a normal person in the entertainment business. You always wonder where the next job is coming from. I don't mind being on the panel on Big Brother because I can't believe it. It's like watching One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, let's be honest, isn't it? These people should be in white jackets and have people with white coats looking after them. It does worry me, but I'm looking forward to going on and saying my piece on there as well, because I think it's hilarious. And actually, you couldn't make that up. So it is great entertainment, but you won't find me in it, love. One, I'm too boring. I would go in it if I could take Sue Ravy with me, my PA, because she'd be making me a cup of tea and seeing that was all right.
You need a maid, basically, don't you?
Well, yes, let's be honest, yes.
What's interesting about you, if you say the words Jane and McDonald in the same breath, people say, oh, she's one of us, she's normal. How have you managed to be unaffected by the business? Because let's face it, you're not normal, you're not average, you're incredibly skilled at what you do and incredibly well paid for it when you do it. You're not one of us in a way, but you have that mass appeal. How have you kept your feet on the ground when other people are stopping in lay-by, snorting things and sleeping with people?
Oh, I can't be bothered, love. What's the point? I'm lucky that I've got a very nice relationship at home. I've had a great family life, and they do keep me very grounded. And I've got the same best friend on tour with me that I've had for the last 30 years. And believe me, if I started getting starry, she'd give me a slap round the head. So, I think coming through the clubs, coming through the cruise ships, coming through all the summer seasons, I am extremely grateful to be where I am today. I never take it for granted. I love my fans. They know that. And as long as they want me out there, and as long as I can keep doing this, I will embrace every minute of it. Grateful is the word I am, and I think that's what keeps me grounded.
I was lucky enough to work with you on a few episodes of Loose Women. What I love about you on that show, and knowing you personally, is what you think of other celebrities. And that sort of opened the door, that programme, didn't it? Because when somebody was sat there who may well be very famous but has no skill or talent, sometimes you found it hard to sort of cover the veneer and pretend that you were interested.
My face says it all, and I can't hide that. And it's just something that I really must work on. But, and if I am not getting anything back, I will tell you that you're boring me. And I can't help that. I've really tried to be polite. But, if you are going on to a talk show or you're going on to promote something, make sure you know what you're flipping talking about, because what is the point of going on there if you are going to dry up or you're not interesting? This business is an honour to be in, and I think a lot more people should take that and take it to the heart, because to be a success in this industry, you have to be something.
And you worked hard to get here. I think what some of the younger people forget is that as quick as you got it, it can be taken away in a heartbeat, can't it? And that's another thing that you pride yourself on, that it's about working and keeping working.
That is it. Everybody thinks once you're on telly, that's it, she's made. She don't have to do another thing. You have to work, Alex, 5 times harder to maintain, a profile, a good profile. That's a big thing. Everybody says any publicity is good publicity. That is rubbish. Let me tell you that. It is rubbish. If you are seen doing things that are bad, that will always live with you. Especially now we've got Twitter, Facebook, social media. Don't do something that you're going to regret in years to come, because it will always be there. Your grandkids are going to see it. Your kids are going to see it. Grow up.
Is it tough being you because you are so well known and so identifiable, and people like talking about you? Let's face it. I see you regularly referred to on Coronation Street. It's a bit strange, isn't it, that you've sort of become part of the lexicon that people refer to. Is there a line where you go, okay, leave me alone now, stop writing about me? Or do you have to take that as part of the job, that if you're going to fill theatres, people are going to be curious about your life?
People are always curious about it, because I think with my with my life, people can't believe that it's that boring. Because people in the media are doing all sorts of things, as we see every day, and I think I get followed a lot, and people do talk about me because they think, that can't be right, she must have a side to her. I probably have, which you've seen. I'm not as nice as I make out.
Never in a lay-by, though.
Oh, never in a lay-by, love. If you can't afford a hotel, don't even ask for my number. What's the point? What is the point of that? Why go in a lay-by? Why do something like that? If you're going to play around, be a bit careful about it. I miss the mystique of, and I think that's what I've still got. I know a lot of people know an awful lot about me, but you don't know anything about me, really. I only tell you what you need to know, and I think that is quite a secret to do.
And of course, this year you've been able to be more you than ever. You say you're back home here in Wakefield, where we're talking today. Has it given you a new boost privately, that you've actually got time to be home, be with your family, and of course with Ed?
I didn't realise how much I liked him. And I've got home now, and he's a right nice fella.
He's all right, is he?
He's lovely. And I thought, why have I wasted all this time? And he actually gave up, the searches so that he could have a life. And of course I went out of it. So he gave up the searches, and I was away for 7 years. So it has made a huge difference. And of course my mother's not getting any younger. She's in her 80s now. I don't want to miss anything. And I think getting the balance right is a very difficult thing. And it's taken me 17 years now to get the balance right. I'm still very hardworking, and I'm still away from home a lot, but I'm home much more than I ever have been in the last 10 years, so I'm happy with that.
Did you ever consider moving to London? Because they say if you're not there, it's impossible to survive. And in fact, even though you weren't living there, you were still in a hotel much of the time, weren't you?
And that's right. I did look to have a place down there. One, it's extortionate.
Outrageous.
Absolutely. You can get a cupboard for what I've got in my house. I could buy a street up here for what, it's just ridiculous money down there. And it's impersonal. They've got some great restaurants, but I tell you what, we've got some great restaurants up here as well, and a minuscule of the price down there. So I'm still homegrown. I can't justify spending that type of money. I can commute within 2 hours and 10 minutes. I've got a great train line here. Why on earth am I going to live in a place that, one, is very impersonal, and two, that I don't really want to be?
Let's talk about the new album. It's the deluxe version. It's out now. It's got 4 new tracks on it. This is, I think, your greatest album. Some people might say, oh, Jane McDonald, she does cheesy music, she does Burt Bacharach covers. Well, I happen to think you do them very well. But nevertheless, this album is on a huge scale. You can tell the orchestra is incredible, and the music you've chosen is just stunning. And you've kind of done a little zinger with them all and twisted them. God only knows, things like that. You've really made your own. Are you proud of it? You should be.
I'm extremely proud of it. Because I've got my own record label, I'm allowed to set the budget. I'm also allowed to bring in the producers I want to work with, and I'm also allowed to spend as much marketing as I want. I'm also allowed to pick what goes on it. All these things you cannot do if you're tied to a label. So I've been extremely lucky that I've had so many jobs that I've been able to fund my hobby, if you like. To go over to Prague and do an album with Nigel Wright and have your songs recorded and arranged by such a producer, and have the Prague Philharmonic look to you and say, was that all right? It don't get any better than that, Alex. And, it is an extremely expensive album, but that's going to be there long after I'm gone.
You could have bought a house in London with the money that this cost, couldn't you?
Yes, I probably could. And I'll probably never recoup, but I tell you what, it was a great thing to do. And I'm even thinking of the next album now, which is all going to be my songs this time. So I'm thinking of, that's even going to be bigger than the one that I've brought out now. Lots of people don't, most artists don't bring albums out like this anymore. But this is who I am. And okay, it takes a lot of money, but then again, I'm working and I can do it. So I'm grateful for that.
Is there any way of explaining that feeling of having that orchestra stood behind you, for you, playing to your strengths, under your direction, really, to then create this stunning album? Did you ever think that was possible? I mean, for a lady who was stood in the clubs 25 years ago working to backing tracks, it's extraordinary, isn't it?
Unbelievable. And that's going back to the grateful again. You know, to be given chances like I've had has been something I could never have dreamed of. But I say to everybody who's in this industry, we're all given chances and we're given choices every day, and it is up to you what you do with them. And a lot of people just let them go. You know, you have to grasp everything. I always say to people, I caught the ball and I ran with it, and I'm that far in front now that they can't catch me up. But that's the secret. You really have to be 2 to 3 steps ahead of everything in this industry, because, Alex, it changes every day. And I have an amazing team of people who work with me. I've got Mark Worrell, who deals with all the media side of it, the social media side of it. That's huge now. That wasn't here 10, 15 years ago. So you have to adapt to what's going on in the industry. And okay, I'm still very old-fashioned that I want a full orchestra working with me. I do like the live feel on stage. I still have that. And most people don't do that anymore because it's a lot cheaper not to do that anymore. But sometimes, you know, a bit of abundance will bring in more people. And I seem to think that is working for me.
It's almost a deal, isn't it? If you invest in the ticket, I'll give you the money back in value. A lot of people now seem to do everything on the cheap. Do you look around you with a wry smile that there are people who are bigger legends and have been around a lot longer than you who can't fill a theatre? I mean, it's a tough business. Do you realise how special it is that you're able to do that? Last night in Truro, next week in Birmingham, Wolverhampton, pantomime. You've forged a career that is bigger than many of your peers who wouldn't be able to do it now. Do you understand how special that is?
I understand how special it is to have work, but that's always been my focus. This is also my joy and my hobby, but it's also a job.
Right, but having the job and having the work is one thing, having an audience who are going to come and support it is another, and you've managed to sustain that, which is incredible.
You have to give your audience and your fans what they want. And I think a lot of artists get a bit carried away and a bit self-indulgent. And actually, you've got to think of the person sat in the front row who's going to come night after night after night after night and think, what do they really come for? What is it what they need? And you have to give them what they need because they give me what I need. It's a two-way street. It's an energy that you create on stage which involves your fans, and that's the atmosphere that you have to create. I always say every single show has got its own magic, and it's the magic you create on a stage with your band and with the audience. You've got to include them, and I think that's why they keep coming back, because they are part of it.
I've been doing the rounds for 10 years since you've been on Loose Women, and wherever I go I mention you, and you're always the one that they loved on Loose Women. Is there any way back for you? I know you walked away from them, they didn't walk away from you, which is different to many people on the programme. Would you go back? Could they entice you back at this point?
I think I had a fantastic decade of 10 years on Loose Women, and I think it's quite rightly gone for a big change. It's not anything I recognise anymore. It's not me, Carol, Denise, Lisa, Linda Bellingham. It's not the old team anymore, and I was definitely a part of that old team. I think it's time for a new team to come in and have their own success with it. It's all new directors, it's new producers. I don't recognise anyone on the show anymore, so it's time for change. I had a brilliant 10 years, and I thank ITV from the bottom of my heart for that.
You may not be able to comment on this. The change is great and a new start is wonderful, but it's also half as successful as it was when you were there, which is unfortunate. The ratings, it's not just me saying it, it's been all over the press, are not doing so well. It seemed like they liked the type of person you are. I don't know whether you can comment on that. That's just a statement of fact.
I'm just very grateful you said that, but I can't comment on that. It was a programme that I loved with my heart, and I really did. People come in, they want to do all sorts of things. That the new people come in, and good luck to them. And I wish them all the luck in the world with it. It's a great show to be a part of, and it was a badge of honour that I wore for 10 years.
And people loved you on it, as did the crew and everybody else. That's the thing about you in this business. You know what you're doing, you know how to get it, but you're also loved for it, and that's amazing, both professionally and with the audience. That's a rare key that people seem to get right in this business. Congratulations on your new album. You got a dance album as well. Who knew? Will you be slapping on your 12-inch while DJs push up your knobs?
Oh yes, I hope so, love. Well, why not? I've only got a few more years to do that type of thing, haven't I? So yes, I've been quite surprised at the success of the remixed album. Who'd have thought it? Mark just said, these songs are great, let's remix them. I had a lot of success with You're My World Megamix years ago, and I have been amazed at the response from the remixed album. So thank you for mentioning that, and I will be still strapping it on and going up there and doing my bit.
Well, there you are. Jane Strap-On is available now. Actually, I've just thought of a new merchandising range.
Don't even go there, you little tinker.
Your new album, the deluxe version, is out now. You're on tour through Christmas. The club album, Toilet Rolls, anything else we can plug for you? The pantomime at Birmingham Hippodrome, of course, we love. And your website, give that so people can get hold of these new albums. Yes,
it's www.jane-mcdonald.com. Thank you so much.
Congratulations on being you. We'll talk in another 10 years.
Okay then, see what we've done then.